Hello and welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Today is a special day. We're doing another specialty deck review video. Throughout the year 2020, I really saw a lot of growth on my channel, and I am so grateful. My goal in starting my channel was just to share the energy and the positivity of card reading with others. And I'm so happy to say that by the end of the year, I exceeded, I got to more than 100 subscribers, and I am so thankful for every single one of my subscribers and for those who come back to my channel to visit. The growth really means a lot to me. I always intended it to be very organic, the way that my channel grew. I never really wanted to get, humongous with the readings, but I'm very grateful for the community, the tarot community, and all the other readers here on YouTube. Everyone is just so wonderful. And so what I've been doing lately is, in addition to the two video posts that I do every week, every Tuesday I do a video called How to Tarot. And what that is the first half of the video we talk about the meanings of one of the 78 card tarot. And then the second half of the video we do, you the viewer, choose one of the 3 tarot decks, and we go through and do a spread to see how that card's manifesting in your life. So that's very helpful if you're watching other readings, or if you're watching readings here on my channel and there seems to be one card that keeps popping out, like you keep seeing the Tower, you keep seeing the 2 of Cups, you can go to the How to Tarot and really get like a real overview as to what the energy is how it's manifesting for you. So that's the video I post every Tuesday, and then every Saturday I do what I call the weekly energy card reading. And what that is it's just where you, the viewer, choose from one of 3 tarot decks, and we see what the energy is like for the next week. And it's just just kind of an overview to see what your week's going to be like. So in addition to those other videos, I do special videos, like I do love readings and other things. But today we're going to do kind of a special one where I've been doing an overview of the cards that I use here on my channel. Just a quick disclaimer, being a card reader, I do, use cards as my tools. It's what I use in my readings. So similar to books, the cards that you see here are the intellectual property of both the publisher and the authors. I'm so grateful to live in a time when we have such really, wonderful materials to use. The card stock and the card quality that you see here today is wonderful. But just know that my purpose in showing it is to introduce you to the cards that I use. I've had requests say, okay, I saw this deck on your channel, can you tell me a little bit more about it? So I'm more than happy to show you my card collection. There are separate videos. I decided to break it up because I have quite a few card decks. So I've posted separate videos, and they're under the playlist here on my channel if you want to check it out. But I've posted separate videos for like my tarot collection, and I've done my oracle, my psychology and self-help oracle decks. Closer to Valentine's Day, just to give you a heads up, I will be reviewing my romance decks, so I'm excited about that. We're going to have a separate post for that. But today this is a special read, and I was actually looking really forward to this. Today we're going to talk about the Lenormand, Gypsy, and Kipper decks. Now, and again, if you ever want to see the name and the descriptions, the name and the authors and the publishers are all in the description box. So, if you want to know the name. But we're just going to go over these decks. This is actually going to be a pretty short read, which I'm kind of excited for. I love these cards so much. It's really, Lenormand and Kipper are really the decks that I don't really have like a lot of decks for. And the cards that I have, I really, really love, and I use them just about daily. So I'm excited to share this with you. Now, the bags that you see here are made by me. So each one is, I like to sew. So after we go over the deck, I'm going to pull one card, and you'll see the bag in the background. But I'll go ahead and jump in and get started. Now, Lenormand and Gypsy cards have a very long history. A lot of times, Gypsy cards kind of date back to around the same time that tarot does. To be honest, I'm not a huge historian when it comes to the Lenormand side, but I do know that a lot of these decks, it seems like tarot really originated from playing cards. And I actually read this really great article where playing cards really talk about the. It's almost like it's almost like an almanac of the seasons, and like the jokers are really meant to represent leap years. So if you check out, if you follow me on Instagram, I did post the description of that. I thought that was fascinating. But tarot really did start off as kind of a little bit more of a playing cards kind of fortune telling game, and it evolved from the 1500s moving forward. Lenormand is very similar to tarot in the fact that it is also kind of used. It's used in a divination kind of sense. The originator where you get the term Lenormand is Madame Lenormand, who is a French author. A French a divinationist. And to my understanding, these cards really came into fashion more around the 1800s. Gypsy cards are similar to Lenormand. In a minute, we'll see the differences. But Gypsy cards, I think, originated far earlier. I think it was around the 1600s, 1700s. And again, I haven't delved into the history. I think I will get to that at some point. But my knowledge of tarot is a lot more extensive than my knowledge of the Gypsy cards. But they are in the same family in the fact that they have some carryover. Like when we go through these cards, you're going to see cards like the sun, like the moon, the star. So you see that a lot of these origins that kind of cross with the same meanings as tarot, except they are a separate, different line. And what I love about these cards, and when we get into it, is it's a lot clearer. It gives you a very kind of clear description, which is different from tarot. Now, I went in order of the order that I actually purchased these decks. The first deck is one by one of my favorite authors, Liz Dean. And this is a Lenormand deck, but the way that she describes it is she calls the cards the fairy tale fortune telling cards. And her artwork, I've always loved her artwork, but all of these cards are very much like Lenormand, in the fact that Lenormand, in tarot you have things like judgment, and you have, justice, and you have the lovers. Lenormand's a little bit different because you have things like the ship, which means a journey. It means going on a mission or moving away from your troubles. You have something called letter. And I really love this artwork because a lot of the imagery really plays into it. And I love the way that she uses dimension, even though it's a flat card. And then you have things like clover. What's beautiful about this deck is that, similar to Lenormand has something like snake, beware. It has mountain for challenge, and bear. But what I really love about this deck is that she keeps the artwork really kind of vibrant. It is plastic coated, but the deck has a good structure to it. It feels good in the hand. It's a little bit of a wider deck, but it's wonderful, and it gives very clear, big images. My heart warms anytime I see the heart. The heart has wings, right? And the thing about Lenormand is, instead of having kings and queens of different suits, what's nice about fortune-telling cards or Lenormand cards is that it'll say woman or a man or a child. It does have a sun and a moon, and when we get into the second deck, we'll go into a little bit more about sun and moon. But it does have very, very clear cards like coffin for, signals, endings, and changed. But what I love about this deck is that it has, of course, very big images, so you can see it as a glance. You can use this for affirmations. If you only have one divination deck, you can pull one card and kind of, you don't even need a card stand. You can kind of just set it up against your mirror. But it has all of the same meanings as a Lenormand deck, and I really love the artwork. It's very, very I look at this, the path. The other thing is that it not only says the name, but it gives a very brief description. So it's just so easy to read. And this is so beautiful. It shows two rabbits going down a wooded path. And it reads so well. The moon I really love in this deck because she has, again, it's a flat card, but the artwork, the way that she does it, it just makes it look, that it gives it dimension with just the way that it's colored. And I love it, because in Lenormand, the moon really takes on a different meaning than the tarot. It usually means kind of inner illumination. It does. It's almost like high priestess kind of energy. But this is a gorgeous deck. It's still in print. The last time I checked, you can get it. You can get it on Amazon for like $20. It's really a good deal. And I've had these cards for years. I think I've had these cards for more than 15 years, and they held up really nicely. The other thing is that I shuffle them quite frequently, and the edging does not, some decks start to wear at the edges where it starts to look worn. This deck has never done that. It is a very slick kind of plastic coating, and it's more shiny, but I've never had a problem in readings. When I use this in a reading, you can still read it very clearly. So I think it's very well done, and again, I love the artist. The author and the artist just does such a wonderful job. And Liz Dean does have a tarot deck, and this is almost like the Lenormand deck that pairs with that. Now, the second deck, I love everything about this deck. This is a formal Lenormand deck. To be honest, I can't pronounce it because it's from a German publisher. But I have the link to Etsy. This is an Etsy creator. This is a best-selling deck of cards. This is a best-selling deck of cards. If you click on the link for Etsy, and we really got a theme of the moon here. Actually, let me go ahead and we'll put the moon on top. There we go. I forgot to pull a card. There we go. But what you have is this is actually the birds, and the birds in Lenormand means communication. Sometimes it can mean gossip. But here you have two owls. But to be honest, this deck I can never pronounce correctly. I think it's Mondnacht, and I apologize. I can read German, but I can't pronounce it very well, and I apologize. That is my failings. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. And it has a little bit of a story behind it, because when I was in the market for a Lenormand deck, there was one other deck that I saw that I really, really liked. It's called the Seven Sphere. I hope I'm saying it right. I'll also put up a picture of that. But there was another deck that I'd actually seen another reader on YouTube use this deck. And what's interesting is this other Lenormand deck that I'm describing is not this one. It's a different deck. But it was a little bit of a competition. I was looking at this deck. I was kind of looking at the images from Etsy, and I was looking at the other deck too and saying, okay, I want one Lenormand right now. I don't want them, again, I don't have very many Gypsy and Lenormand decks. I keep those really pared down for some reason, even though tarot I have a million. I really only kind of wanted one Lenormand, or at the time I was being frugal. And it's interesting, Seven Sphere actually has an app that you can download where you can see all their cards, and it's really beautiful. It's that kind of monochromatic art. But it was a tough competition, but I did decide, oh my gosh, and we pulled the moon again. I'm getting a lot of high priestess energy here, guys. But this deck really kind of won out. I looked at the images, and I really decided, okay, which deck do I want to go with? And these images just really spoke to me. They were simple, they were understated, but so lovely. Like, this is the mouse, and the mouse is about worry and anxiety, something kind of eating away at you. What's really gorgeous is I love them. In Lenormand deck, there's a man, there's a woman, and there's a child. And that is really, really nice, because when you're doing reads, when you pull tarot, sure, you could, tarot elaborates in the fact that you can pull the King of Pentacles and know what that means, or you can pull the Queen of Swords and know, okay, this is more of an analytical or outspoken woman. But in Lenormand, it just means the main person, right? It means the main person. It means a man in your life, and it usually means a man of your own age. The heart really is beautiful. You saw in the previous deck how the heart had wings and it was a little bit more cartoonish. This is really beautiful. You'll actually see me post this sometimes over on my Instagram. And I'll have my Instagram listed below as well. I post kind of daily energies. But the child is so beautiful. Like she seems to be walking through a field of wheat. It's almost like harvest. And this is really beautiful. I like the fox. The fox is about is about kind of cunning or someone who is after their own self-interest. But when it comes up, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad card. With Lenormand, what you do is you pull 2 cards side by side, or you pull 3 cards. There are like special Lenormand spreads. So they're not as elaborate as tarot, but they still give you a lot of information. The ring is really beautiful, not only because I love garnets and pearls, but I also think it means commitment. Now, what's lovely about this deck is that it's really pocket sized. As you see, it's like the size of a small a pocket-sized tarot deck. So if you wanted to keep it simple, if you wanted one pocket-sized or small tarot deck and then one Lenormand deck, this would be perfect for that because the size is really lovely. And I'll tell you, this deck travels with me whenever I go on a trip. And I thought the images were very clear but beautiful. Like, look at that star. That star is just gorgeous. There's no meanings on it, so you do have to kind of study Lenormand or maybe have a book at the side. This would be, for someone who, if you want to be more well-versed before you purchase a deck that doesn't have the meanings, but it has very big, clear numbers, and I like that too, because numerology. I think the dog is adorable. It looks like a cross between a Saint Bernard and like a German Shepherd, and it gives you that lovable. Like, I even think his tongue is sticking out a little bit. It's like this lovable colleague, and it means friendship and it means loyalty. The mountain, I think, looks beautiful. And the coffin is just amazing. The stillness and the layers of color. Clouds is really gorgeous too, because when you read in the Lenormand, again, you do 1 or 3 card spreads that are kind of like, 1, 2, 3. And what you'll do is you'll kind of put one card next to each other, and there's a dark side to the clouds and a light side to the clouds. And whatever lands on the dark side is what's behind you, right? Or what's ahead. I love the fork in the road in this card. It's just gorgeous. There's a really soft rainbow over one side. But it's just a gorgeous deck. I love the artwork, really spoke to me, and I just thought it was so well done. It is a bestseller on Etsy. It's very well priced. If you're in North America, you do have to kind of wait for it to come in. Oh, the rider is so cool. He reminds me of Paul Revere, but you see the civilization in the distance. And the snake is a cobra. I always thought that was really cool. But it's got really beautiful imagery, and I'll tell you guys, I turn to this deck daily. The only 2 decks that I really use just about every single day is, if you saw the psychology and self-help, video, I use the self-care daily cards by DejaDrewit. And she actually has, right now, if you check out her website, she's on Instagram, and I'll put her link below as well. But she does have more of that in stock right now. That's an excellent deck. I use that daily. But I use my Lenormand cards daily. I really do. And let me go ahead and pull one for her. Oh, there you go. We got the dog and we got the fish, which means growing prosperity, growing loyalty. But definitely, if you're in a market for Lenormand, this is the Lenormand I use. The 7 Sphere, I don't own it, but I've always been real tempted to get that deck. It's a gorgeous deck as well. And there are also a lot of really other beautiful Lenormand decks. The other thing is that this is very traditional Lenormand. I think it just has only the cards. I forget exactly how many cards is in Lenormand. I think it's 38. But it definitely it gives you a very clear reading. What I like about Lenormand is it cuts out the majors, and what it feels. Lenormand always feels like daily life to me. Not that the regular tarot can't give you a good daily reading, but when I pull one self-care card or I pull one Lenormand card, I feel like I have the information. Just those 2 pieces of information is just a really daily. It's almost like an affirmation. And what I always think is really cute is that sometimes when I pull these cards, like that heart card that had the flowers, one day I got flowers, and it felt like love, it felt like self-love. And another time I pulled the heart, but it was in reverse. And I remember I actually posted it on my Instagram. If you get a chance to check it out, I kept going, because the heart in Lenormand means love is all around you. Like, it's also kind of a reminder, if you're having a blue day, reach out. There's someone there to be there for you. But the heart was in reverse, and what had happened is I have organites that I was buying from Etsy, and I had one that was in the mail. It was actually the mermaid one. Here, let me grab it. And my mermaid one, I was watching the tracking on it, and it's like, oh, your mermaid heart is going to come in the mail today. And then what had happened is the mail got delayed, and they didn't update it at the website, and it was coming the next day. So when I saw the heart in reverse, I kept thinking, does that mean I get no love? No, it didn't mean no love. It meant no heart. No heart today, heart tomorrow is what it meant. And I just thought that was great. And that was amazing. And it did. It kept repeatedly coming up in reverse, like no heart today, no heart today. So sometimes cards can be literal too. All right, but moving on, the next deck that this is still available, and this is wonderful. I got it off Amazon, so it's a little bit more expensive. Ooh, we got the Rider, we got Journey. But what this is this is the Gypsy Oracle cards. And I don't remember the name of the name of the publisher is escaping me, but I'll put it in the description. But what it is that it is also pocket size. It's small, like playing card size. And it has, I think, this about the same number of cards as in a Lenormand deck. But what I love about this is the Gypsy fortune-telling cards, and we'll go ahead and take this as your card, is that there's similarities to Lenormand, except there are keywords. You know what? With it being in 4 languages, I think this might be Lo Scarabeo, probably, because they're good about putting like the name in all languages. But like here you have Journey, right? You have someone who's going on a mission. And that's very similar to Rider, right? The Gypsy Oracle cards are really great, because they give more descript meanings. And that's what I love about this deck. And that's why I had to have this deck. I got the inspiration to buy it by watching another reader use these cards. But what I love about it is that it like in tarot, you could see the 4 of Swords and think, okay, someone might be sick. These cards make it very, very clear. It says malady, right? And malady is it's more mild. It's like something that's passing, like you catching the flu or catching the cold. It's nothing serious. It's something that'll pass. And then here you got, this always reminds me a little bit of the 3 of Cups, but it means cheerfulness. So this is more in the party sense. But what I love is that the Gypsy cards give you more people and more descriptions. Like here you have priest. So this could be someone who's very devout to their religion, or someone, it almost reminds me a little bit of the Hierophant and the fact that you're following the rules or you're following your vows. The other thing is you got doctor, which tell me how cool is that, But what I love is that in this deck they have a young woman and they have an old woman. So it kind of helps differentiate. This could be a young teenager. An old woman can be like a grandmother or a mother. But what's great is they have like cards like widower. Now, please don't a little bit of a trigger warning. Don't take any of this literally, but there is images like despair, but that usually means someone who just, feels like they can't go on. It's a little exaggerated, so don't take it literally when you see something like that. But they have cards like sorrow. They have cards like child. So similar to Lenormand, you saw there was a child card, but here it's very clear that it's a baby. Because the other thing is that with Lenormand, childs can sometimes be beginnings. It can be something new, the start of something new. And this is great because you saw sorrow, but this is sighs, like a sigh. And you see a boat. It's almost like that boat has sailed. That ship has sailed. Now, it's interesting. You see cards like thief. And what's cool is that in a minute, you're going to see the same scene. When you see the card that says money or living room, you see a similar scene and you see someone sneaking in the window. What I love about the Gypsy card is that they have cards about service. They have service and they also have servant. So if you're asking about, okay, what's going on here, it can mean you're being of service to someone. And here we go, you got old woman, which is very clearly like a grandmother. And here you have friend. So here it's similar, but you see this can be like a girlfriend instead of you seeing like loyalty like a dog. And here you have constancy, which is great, because this gives so much clarity. You got sweetheart. And what's interesting is that she's reading a letter, but it does almost look like she's looking at a cell phone, You got fortune, which I kind of think of Wheel of Fortune or Lady Luck. Conversation. So, this could be you talking with your friends or hearing through the grapevine. You got Cupid for love. And what's great is that you got cards like Lord, which means that, someone can be Lord of the Manor, someone could be in a position of authority or affluence. You also got pleasure seekers, This is great because anytime you want like really detailed, like, okay, what's this person doing? They're partying with their friends. The other thing I get is that you're kind of living up to what your friends, you know how you're a different person with your friends than you are when you're, with your boo. But it does, similar to Lenormand, it has the more mainstays, like it has the house, and it's got letter, which is also Lenormand, and it's got gift, which is, in Lenormand, usually gift is the bouquet of flowers, but I thought this is really beautiful. The other thing I have is it does have a reunion card, which I think is so great, because again, when you look at tarot, sometimes that could be the Six of Cups, but it's not real clear. The other thing is you have scholar, and you have another card that says thought as well. So it can be someone who's up in their thought, or it could be someone who's studying. So this could be someone at college or someone who's getting a degree in something. Merchant is great because sometimes this, again, gives you a really clear indication. Maybe you're trading with someone or doing business with someone. And here you see room. And room is kind of like, when I see room, I kind of think of living room. It's kind of like having space to breathe or being in your own space. Sometimes that can be an indicator that you need to take time to do things that you like to do in your own head. It does have cards like misfortune, and that almost reminds me a little bit of the Tower card. But what I love is it's got messenger, But what's cool, oh, here we go. We do have servant, which is different than service. Service is being of service. And here you got melancholy. So it's really amazing. You got sorrow, you got sighs, you got melancholy. So it gives you a lot of really clear descriptions. They got a card that's prison, which is very similar to the Tower in Lenormand, but a lot clearer. Someone's imprisoned. And they've got soldier. Now, they do have faithfulness, which is similar to the friend card. But what I like is that it actually has a wife card. So, it's like there's no question. Okay, if you're asking about someone, they're married, The other thing is that it's got things like frivolity and surprise. And here we even have money. But they also have something like lover, so that can be a little bit more of a Lothario type or a Knight of Cups. Consolation, maybe you're down and out. Maybe you had one loss, but one smaller gain from it. And what I thought, oh, here we go. This is the thought card. But what I love about this deck is you can see it's very, very clear. It even has a haughtiness, like someone's, being a peacock. And here it even says wedding. So what I love about this is that it just definitely has a lot of great cards. The cool thing about this is that it has enemy, and you see someone walking and someone hiding like they're about to ambush them. And it has foe. And foe is like, that could be someone who might be talking behind your back. And when you look at this, it just gives you such a myriad of really clear answers. So, like Lenormand, it's almost like you kind of have to interpret it a little bit more, but the Gypsy cards give you a really wide range. So I've noticed that when I'm doing a regular tarot pull, I can pull out these cards and clarify like nobody's business, like I'll pull the Queen of Cups and they'll be like, I'm like, okay, who's that? And then wife flies out. Okay, that's someone's wife. Maybe it's someone that you're talking about. The other thing is that, okay, why isn't this person communicating? They can have, enemy or foe or sorrow or, you know, again, it kind of, it really, really fleshes out a read. And so these cards really are helpful for that. I really like to pull them out. And again, you know, in addition, you could use Lenormand with Gypsy, or you could use Gypsy. I noticed Gypsy with Tarot works really, really well. And again, if you only want a few decks, you know, if you say, okay, I don't want a whole bookshelf, and let me just warn you, getting tarot, getting into cards is like, is like getting a tattoo. You can't just have one. Um, and so what happens is you eventually end up with a whole bookshelf. But I'm not trying to scare you. But if you are looking just for you know, like a small, if you check my video for my, I have 19 tarot decks now, but if you look at my tarot deck video, there are smaller decks. I have 4 sets of what I call mini decks. And those are that's perfect for this. If you just want to be able to tuck this into a drawer somewhere and pull it out when you need it, you can have a set of Lenormand, you can have a set of Gypsy cards, and then a small set of tarot, and that's kind of the trifecta there. Also, in fortune telling, in reading and in general, like when we get around, I did a video on my Jane Austen, on Jane Austen's birthday. It was mid-December last year. That's also here on my channel. I went over my Jane Austen decks, and it's interesting. If you have, I have a Jane Austen tarot, I have a Jane Austen oracle, I have Jane Austen playing cards, and then there is a deck that's going to be coming out soon that is Jane Austen Lenormand, and that kind of makes up everything. If you have a tarot, a playing card, an oracle deck, and a Lenormand or Gypsy, that's those kind of 5 elements really is the 360 degrees of card reading. So just in case, just so you know, and you can do pocket size, you know, tuck it into a drawer, call it a day. Now the last deck, you know, again, I always do this. I have fairy tale cards that are Lenormand. I have a beautiful German deck that's Lenormand. I have Gypsy cards that really tell a story. And I saw another reader use these cards, and I just had to have them. And what this is this is by this deck is by AGM, which is the same publisher of my Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. And I have a separate video about Rider-Waite-Smith. If you ever get a chance, want to check it out. There's a story behind that because the artwork of Pamela Coleman Smith, over time, reproductions of it got very fuzzy, and AGM, this publisher, really came out with a beautiful, like such a sharp image deck, and their card quality is superb. So I was really excited when I saw this deck is available on Amazon. I think it's like $22. It's not too bad, not expensive, and it's called the Mystical Kipper deck. So what you are seeing is a range here. Lenormand is this. You know, the first deck is called Fairy Tale Fortune Cards, but it's technically Lenormand. It has all of the same elements of Lenormand. The second deck is a German Lenormand deck that I got off Etsy. The third deck is Gypsy cards, which is fortune telling, but a lot more descript. And Kipper is in the same vein as all of these, right? These cards are very similar to Gypsy, but they have different descriptors, right? They don't have the exact same descriptors as they have here. And I saw this deck and I just had to have it because, again, you know, I can pull out my Gypsy card or I can pull out these cards to clarify. And what I love about this is that in regular Lenormand you have man, which is the main man, I'm the main man. The woman, which is either you or the person you're inquiring about, or a child, which could be a child or a beginning. Here you saw that you had clarifiers like maybe someone's a servant, maybe someone is, you know, working for you, maybe someone's a messenger, maybe someone's an enemy or a foe. What I love about this deck is that it gives you like male and female, but it gives you different descriptions. Like here it specifically says military person. And I use this in conjunction with my tarot decks because this could be a knight. right? If I pull the Knight of Cups, okay, or I pull the Knight of Pentacles, okay, who is this person? Oh, he's a military person. If it's the Knight of Swords, it could literally be somebody who's in the military. What I love about this deck is that the artwork is really, really beautiful. Honestly, it's also in playing card size. All of these decks are pretty small except for the Fairy Tale Fortune cards. But look at this. Look at this artwork. You see a king knighting a man, and there's people standing, and the spotlight is on him. And it says, high honors, right? And the book is really helpful, too. The book gives a short description, and it describes. And just like Lenormand, you can do this in a spread of, 1, 2, 3 cards. And whatever card is next to this card helps flesh out the story. It also has theft or thief. So this could be someone, it can be a person, or it can, if this card falls next to a person. If you see this next to the tarot card of 7 of Swords, it can definitely be like this, someone who's stealing. Or it could be that you feel like you're being robbed, right? What I love about this is it says unexpected money. It does have child, but it says a little child, which is very descriptive because you see someone playing. So when I see this, and again, the artwork is so beautiful. There's so many little nuances to it. I really think of a real child. Now, what's interesting is that it has several variations of the feminine and masculine. You've got rich, good gentleman, which is really nice. You got a rich, rich man. You also have, similar to malady in the previous deck, you have short illness, and it's just, the keywords are a little clearer, right? Because malady is a little bit of an antiquated term, and here you see someone, again, looks like they're just under the weather. You've got a change, right? In regular Lenormand, this change would be the birds, but that can, again, be multi-meaning. Sometimes it can mean pregnancy or movement, and here it just means a change. It means something new is coming, right? This is what I love. You've got main person, which could be you or the person you're asking about. It's really cool. You have his thoughts. And this card actually came up if you watched the How to Tarot on the 5 of Cups that just came out a few days ago. This card came up, so I thought that was it. Again, it helps flesh out the themes. And you've got success and love. You see 2 people in the boat, You've got, this is similar to the cross, which is like a journey or a test of faith, right? It looks like a hermit or a wizard going on a long journey. The other thing I love is this marriage card is really beautiful. A lot of these images look like India, and I just think it looks really amazing. I love the fact that the wife is playing the piano, and this is just such a warm image to me. You got Good Lady, and Good Lady is so beautiful. I honestly kind of think of, this card actually came out also in the How to Tarot this week. Again, the second part of that video is a reading to see how the 5 of Cups manifests in your life. And this card came out right next to the 9 of Pentacles. And oh my gosh, doesn't this look, what it is it's an older, mature woman, someone who's very giving. She's almost kind of like the cross of the 9 of Pentacles and the Empress. And it's just such a beautiful card. And it's definitely someone who gives good advice. Then you also have Rich Girl, So this flies out next to the Queen of Pentacles. You're dealing with a woman who has bank, right? This is great because it says sad news, but it's someone who's in a church, right? So if you see this next to a letter, it might be okay, a message about something. This also came up in the reading, and this is just so, the imagery really speaks. It's like grief and adversity, So if you see this next to like the 5 of Pentacles, this is amazing because it says gaining a lot of money, but it's very clearly kind of a gambling kind of environment. It does have a tower. This is similar to the tower in Lenormand, but it clearly says prison. And great happiness, which kind of could be the Wheel of Fortune or the World. This is what I love about this deck, is that it actually has a court card. So again, when in tarot you could pull Justice, and you're like, okay, am I getting called into jury duty? What's going on? And so here you can see, and again, it could mean something like maybe there's something legal or something that you're being called to do, or maybe you're calling someone else to court. And this is great too because it even has court person. and tell me not how cool that is, that, you know, if you see justice in a read, are you being called to court, or are you the court person, right? Or maybe a court person can also be that maybe someone's called to the bench to testify against you. So sometimes I read that as like maybe someone's calling up your friends to see what's going on with you. Or, you know, if your boss, if something's going on at work and someone's calling you up to sit on the stand to say, hey, what happened, right? This is another really unique card, and it's expectation. And what it is you see someone peeking out the window. And tell me that does not give you such great imagery, because expectation, it looks like this person is either, I mean, it could be you stalking the mailman, stalking the Amazon guy. It can be a negative, again, look at surrounding cards. It can be a negative expectation, like you're afraid of what's about to ring your doorbell. Or, you know, either that, or I also kind of read that as maybe you could be expecting the worst, you know, like if you see this next to the Nine of Swords. The other thing I kind of think is that with them peeking through the window, maybe someone's trying to spy on you to see what's going on, you know? But it also has journey. So this is interesting. It has journey, but it looks different. It's almost like, you know, this is almost like a cross of the Rider. But when I see this deck, I almost think more of the boat, the ship. And the ship means going on a journey. But what I love, it's so clear in this deck, because instead of just showing a boat, you know, it's saying, okay, you're clearly going somewhere, right? And the beautiful thing about that meaning is that sometimes that can be a call. Again, it can be advice, where it's telling you, okay, you need to go you have a mission right now. Either that, or what you're going through right now is one step. It's one leg of the journey, right? Your bags are still packed. You're going places, right? It's just, the other thing I kind of get is it might take a little bit of time. So don't despair if it's going kind of slow. It might be going in phases or stages. And here you've got main person, which is a guy. And you've got house. So again, it's so similar to Lenormand, right? This is why I kind of categorize all these cards together. You also have false person, which, you know, again, in Lenormand, you can kind of see that as the snake or the fox. And you even have work, occupation. So if you're asking about job, this is great because it says pleasant letter. So, and just like you have sad news, you can also get a pleasant letter where you know it's good news. This is a really powerful card. And you know, just like the clouds, here you have gloomy thoughts. And you see this churning sea and someone standing looking at the churning sea. It's so powerful. And then you've got hope, big water. Now this is interesting, similar to the coffin, because coffins can be endings, but this is very clearly bereavement. So, you know, if someone, you know, like if you say, okay, why isn't this person reaching out, and you get bereavement, maybe they've had a loss in their family, or, you know, sometimes it can be a loss of a job or something like that. I love this because, again, you have main person, which is like the man in Lenormand, but here you have good gentleman, and then you have good rich gentleman, and you have good woman. So again, good gentleman is almost like an older, you know, it can be like a patriarchal, older, wiser person. It can be a boss or someone that you look up to for advice. Now, you do also have living room. So again, like room is it's almost like your space or giving yourself. And I really think of the dream interpretation for this. If you've ever read a dream dictionary, when you think about a living room, it's almost like it's the space in your head where you're free to be yourself, right? It can also mean that you need to give yourself some breathing room. You also have meetings. So again, if you're asking about, you know, so this is great. You know, it's not just, you know, one card fits all. Like you see the lovers and you're like, okay, does that mean I'm talking to my crush? Does that mean I'm getting married this week? Does it mean I'm having a date night with my husband or wife? So here, you know, you see marriage card, and then you see, you know, here you actually have meetings, and you can see it's a little bit more romantic, right? And then you do have cards like the gift or the bouquet. And it goes right back to military person. So I love this deck. Again, just like the Gypsy cards, it gives me a lot of information. And of course, you know, me knowing the cards, or, you know, as you get used to them, or if you've seen, if looking at this flip through is kind of giving you an idea that this deck might be the thing for you. I will say that the Mystical Kipper does have a little bit more brighter colors. They're not, they're not candy coated, but they're more gemstone kind of colored, and there's a lot of floral in it. Gypsy is a little bit more formal. It's a little bit more gold and bronze and black. And then the Lenormand cards, again, there's so many Lenormand decks out there. If you want a more fanciful one, you could choose one. I went with one that was a little bit more understated. And then, of course, you have, like, the Fortune. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a Kipper deck. Ooh, oh, this deck really wants to come out. Meetings. So maybe you got someone who's going to hang out with you. And again, if you're watching this at the time the video posts, it does not need to be in person. It can be via Skype. But that's really beautiful. And honestly, I'm seeing Loyal Friend. Loyal Friend, Journey. But as you can see, again, all four of these decks are wonderful. They're different in their own ways. And again, there's a lot of choices for traditional Lenormand and fortune cards. Definitely, if you're in the market, you can use the keyword Gypsy, or you can use the keyword fortune cards, or the keyword Kipper. Because Kipper, I think all of these cards share a same like a joint history, and they all kind of, over the years, over the centuries, they just kind of filtered out into their own version of fortune telling cards. But I hope you enjoyed, and I thank you so much for joining me today. This was relaxing. Again, showing you these cards and it being my 4 decks. I say this every video, I don't anticipate in adding to it, but again, there are so many beautiful card decks out there, and all of these publishers are really wonderful and create a wonderful product. So again, this is my goal with this video, is to help you find a deck that suits you and that you feel comfortable with. And it's also, a thank you for following my channel. But I thank you again for stopping by, and please feel free to check out my other videos, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.